So this is the DeMartin Soccer Complex on the campus of Michigan State University. That's the field right there. And there's their little practice field right here. The Michigan State men's soccer program was actually started way back in 1953. Their nickname is the Spartans, as you can see the Spartan head right there. And most soccer programs, especially college when I cover them, you know, you start at the beginning and then later on they get into the success. However, for Michigan State, all the success came right at the beginning. So early on, in the early 60s, they actually played in back-to-back national championships, in which they lost both of them 1-0 to Navy in 1964, and in 1965 they lost 1-0 to the St. Louis Billikens. And as you can see, there's the S for Spartan. Off in the distance, you can see the scoreboard. It says DeMartin Field. And here's where the story gets really crazy. Just real quick, here's the logo up close. The colors are green and white. You can see Michigan State and then the Spartan. So, I watch a lot of soccer and I've seen a lot of soccer. And I've never heard of what Michigan State's program actually accomplished in the late 60s. So, well, first of all, in 1966, the 2 years after they lost the national championships, they would finish in 3rd place. But then in 1967, they played against St. Louis again. This time, they would end up drawing 0-0, and the game would be called off due to inclement weather. So both of them would end up splitting their national championship. So they were both crowned national champions. But then here's where the part gets really crazy. You can see DeMartin Stadium right there. They actually, in the next year, would do the exact same thing. So they played against Maryland. The game finished 2-2, and after 2 overtime periods, this was before shootouts or penalty kicks, they would just call the game, and they would reward them both co-national champions. So Michigan State finished both years back-to-back as co-national champions. It's pretty crazy. But you guys can see the stands off in the distance. That's pretty cool, actually, that little design down there in the bottom. They use that on their basketball uniforms. Yeah, this is pretty nice too. They got all these like flowers right around here. Not flowers, but I don't even know what you call these. But yeah, there's the baseball stadium off in the distance right there. Here's the DeMartin Stadium. So for over 30 years after their successes in the 60s, they didn't make the tournament. They made it again back in 2001 to finally break their drought. And they've made the NCAA tournament a total of 20 times. And they have actually won their conference tournament 3 times, in 2004, 2008, and 2012. And then from 2007 all the way to 2018, they made the tournament every single year except 2011. And in 2013 and 14, they accomplished back-to-back last 8 appearances. And in 2018, they lost 5-1 to Akron in the last 4. So they got back to, yeah, they got back a little bit of their success from the late 60s. Here's their benches right here, though. These are pretty nice, actually. You see the tarp right here over it. So you can see the big bushes blocking the ball if it goes over. You got the benches right here with a little bit of the tarp over it. That's pretty nice, actually. Little grounds crew guy doing some groundskeeping. You guys can see it says DeMartin Field right there. It's a really nice stadium, actually. You can see it's got grass too. So DeMartin Stadium here was built back in 2008, and its capacity is 2,500 people. And actually, Earlier I showed you guys a sign that said Old College Field. That is where the first ever soccer game was played as a varsity sport, and they defeated the University of Michigan, their arch rivals, 3-1 at that stadium. I think it's somewhere over there. It's built somewhere on here. It's where all the athletics used to be played back in the early 40s and 50s before they built a bunch of stadiums. So I'd actually like to take this time and read you guys off a couple of notable Spartans. So these are guys that have all made caps for the USA. Actually, I just want to show you guys this. This is really cool. So this is the Red River right here. You guys can see it's literally right behind the stadium. So there's the Red River, and here's the stadium. You know, I was over in Lansing and I made the comparison of the Dundee Derby. Well, this stadium kind of reminds me of Fulham Stadium, you know, right on the River Thames. So it'd be like Fulham, and then there's the River Thames, but here it's Red River, and it's DeMartin Soccer Complex. That's pretty cool, actually. Here it opens up even more over here. So let me tell you a little bit about some Spartans that have been cap tied by USA before. The very first one was Nick Kratt, who was the first MSU alumni to suit up for Team USA, and that was back in 1968, and he ultimately would end up with 10 caps. There's also Alex Skarotarek and Buzz Demling, who actually got his 4 caps at the 1972 Olympics in Munich. And then recently there was DeJuan Jones, who played for East Lansing High School, and he made his first Team USA appearance just recently in 2023. And also we have Trevor Harris, who's appeared for the Reggae Boys of Jamaica, and Jay Chapman, who actually plays for Team Canada. I'm sure a lot of MLS fans would have heard of Jay Chapman. This is a cool view with the softball stadium off in the background. I love this sports complex, man. You got all the green behind the grass, or behind the net right there. You got the stadium blocking the view right there, and then all these trees blocking the Red River. Earlier I mentioned over there that they played U of M in the very first varsity game for the soccer team, and that's actually called the Big Bear Trophy in terms of the soccer rivalry. So that's what they just call the soccer rivalry, not the other sports. Just in soccer it's called the Big Bear Trophy, and MSU leads that series 15, 12, and 3. So they got 15 wins, 12 losses, and 3 draws. And the last game, MSU won 2-0 on September 27th of 2022. Here's from the fans' perspective. Nice shot of the whole field. Press boxes up there. You can see the green and white everywhere for their school colors. Oh yeah, you guys can see everything from up here. All the way up in the nosebleeds. Nice press boxes. You see the brick on here. Looks brand new. It's a nice press box. Even got the windows open. See State, Michigan State, all the cameras right there. For all the coaches and all the announcers. So the women's team was founded back in 1993, and they have 5 NCAA tournament appearances, and they have won no conference championships. Now regular season or conference champions. Now their 5 appearances that they've made in the tournament, the very first one was back in 2002. They received an at-large bid and they lost to Miami, Ohio. But their very first win in the postseason would come in 2005 when they beat Bowling Green 4-0. That year they went 13-6-5. And they beat Bowling Green 4-0 in the first round, and then they lost to Notre Dame 3-0. Their next tournament success would be in 2008 when they beat the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee 2-1. but their best season actually came last year in 2022, when they would finish with 16 wins, 2 losses, and 3 draws. And their first round win came over UW Milwaukee, 3-2 in extra time, but then they would lose to TCU 1-0 in the second round. So the furthest that they've ever been is the second round in the NCAA tournament. So they have yet to be able to duplicate the success that the men have, but maybe they're on the way up, because last year they had their best season ever. So hopefully they can make some even bigger strides in 2023. DeMartin Soccer Complex, East Lansing, Michigan.